What's up everybody, my name is Jaspreet Singh and welcome to the Minority Mindset. I asked you on Snapchat what you want to know about me and I received so many questions. So thank you for that. And if you don't follow me on Snapchat yet, add me on Snapchat. Now I'm going to answer some of the most popular questions I received because if I try to answer everything, you'd be watching this video all day long. Alright, question 1. Hey Jaspreet, what college did you go to and what degree did you get and what kind of student were you? Okay, I went to the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. I got a degree in a subset of psychology. It was called biopsychology, cognition, and neuroscience. It's a really big word for psychology. I don't really know what I learned. I kind of slept through a lot of my psychology classes. But what kind of student was I in school? So when I was in middle school and high school, I remember I used to have friends that they would come to me and they would say, hey, I just made $100 from a report card. And I was like, what? What do you mean you just made $100 from your report card? These kids, they were making $50 every time they got an A on their report card. So if they got 2 A's, they made $100. For me, in my house, if I came home with an A, my dad would question me why I didn't get an A+. So I had to work really hard in school. I was a pretty good student in middle school, high school. Even in college, I was a pretty good student because I really had no other choice. How old are you? I am 25 years old. My birthday is September 10th. Jaspreet, what's your favorite food? Oh man. So I love food. They say some people live to eat and other people eat to live. I live to eat. I mean, I love food. So my favorite food, I think my favorite types of food are Indian and Mexican food. I don't think I can really narrow it down more than that, but I love eating. So yeah, I love food. What made you want to be an entrepreneur and was it gradual or did it happen overnight? So for me, it definitely did not happen overnight. I became an entrepreneur through time. The first step to me really becoming an entrepreneur was after my senior year in high school. I interned with a very successful businessman and entrepreneur, and this was the first time I really saw anything outside of science and medicine because before then, I thought I was going to be a doctor. That's what my parents really wanted me to do. And so when I saw the amount of value you can create in business and how you can create your own opportunities through entrepreneurship, I loved it. I mean, it was a weird kind of experience that I had. And from there, I just started reading business books all the time. I never read books before then. I hated reading. And so after that, I just started reading business books back to back to back to back to back. And at the same time, I was starting my own businesses, but never really thought I was an entrepreneur at the time. I was just starting businesses. I don't know. I never really kind of put the two together. And so that went on, and then I didn't think I could be an entrepreneur because my parents weren't going to support it. But that eventually changed as well. You know, not that they necessarily supported it, but that, you know, I wanted to really become an entrepreneur. So it was a long process and it did not happen overnight. And it was kind of a mix of a lot of things of my hands-on experiences, what I did, and what experiences I learned that kind of blended together for me to become an entrepreneur. Jaspreet, how much money do you make from a YouTube channel? So, after about a year's worth of work, I've made a whole about $1,300 from my YouTube channel for a whole year's worth of work. You know, I think that's what really separates Minority Mindset from a lot of other brands is I didn't start Minority Mindset with the idea to make money. I did this because honestly, it's like, I love working with entrepreneurs. I mean, if somebody asked me what my passion was, I never knew how to answer that. But anytime somebody came to me with a business idea, I could talk to them for hours and hours and hours. And I just loved doing that. And so after being scammed and screwed over, I started Minority Mindset just to help other entrepreneurs. And now I'm just starting to see it grow. And I'm seeing how many people get into a similar industry with the idea of just making money, right? And you can really see the difference because people come to sell a product as opposed to build a brand. And so for me, Minority Mindset, you know, I didn't come in there with that same mindset, which is why I really see a difference between Minority Mindset and other brands. And I hope you guys see that too. You know, our goal as a brand is really to work with entrepreneurs and help them grow, not just to sell them a class. I mean, there's so much more to that, you know? As you can tell, I've been grouping a bunch of similar questions together. This way I can get to more questions. What religion am I? Why do I wear a turban and beard? And what do different colored turbans mean? I am a follower of the Sikh religion. I made a video about my religion and why I keep a turban and beard. You can watch it by clicking this link right here. And what do different colored turbans mean? Well, it's just your own personal preference. There's really no meaning behind the different colors. How do you get time to do all the things that you do when there are only 24 hours in a day? Well, I talked about this a few times. I do not like to be inefficient. I have my days scheduled out. And on top of that, if I need to get things done, I will sacrifice sleep. It's not something I'm scared to do. I get a lot of pushback on that because people say, well, you need 8 hours of sleep to be functional. You need 8 hours of sleep to really be able to focus properly. I completely disagree. Listen, we're all only given 24 hours in a day. If you're sleeping 8 hours a day and you're working, only 12, and I'm able to work 16 hours a day, I'm able to get a lot more work done than my competitor. And guess what? Nobody cares about if you're tired, or if you feel sick, or if you feel bad. Listen, I know it's harsh, but that's the truth. If you want to be a winner, you got to play like a winner. You can't sit here and keep making excuses for yourself. I've talked about this. I'm not going to do a motivational video right now, but yeah, so I do what I got to do to get things done, period. How do I find more motivated people like you to be around? Because I'm around a bad and unmotivated crowd, and these people don't really care about their future. Well, that's a common thing a lot of people with the minority mindset have to deal with. And so my advice, because I went through the exact same thing, is just put it out there that you're an entrepreneur, whether it's through social media or whatever. Put that out there, and then once people see that, the right people will come to you. I don't know how to explain it much better, but it really did work for me because I had to stop hanging around that group of people as well, because you really want to stay focused 24 hours a day. You don't want the negativity around you. So once people see that, hey, this is what you're doing, you're going to start connecting with the same type of people. Jaspreet, do you have any pets? So I used to have a cat named Kitty, but she passed away just a couple years ago, and I don't have any more pets right now. What are your hopes and dreams? You always help us with our dreams, but we never hear about yours. So my real goal is to help entrepreneurs follow their dreams and follow their passion, because I never had that support when I was younger, and it's hard to be an entrepreneur. We all kind of grow up with these big dreams and these big thoughts and these big ideas, but we get shut down as we get older. And so I want people to kind of think those ideas and help turn them into realities, because that's a lot more fun. And so I love working with people with passions and doing those type of things. So that's where I want to go. And in addition to that, you guys know how big taking care of the community is for me. And so I want to blend that in there, because in my opinion, the best way to take care of your community is doing it yourself. I do not think that relying on the government or anybody else is a good way to do it. I think if someone's going to take care of the community, it's going to be you, it's going to be me. And so it's important to understand how to make money, how to take our ideas and turn them into businesses, and turn these businesses into profits, so we can take that profit and take care of our community, because no one else is going to do it. And so my goals and dreams is to help people take these crazy ideas that they have and turn them into realities, because I love working with people that have passions for whatever it is. So yeah, I think, summed up, that's kind of what it is. How did you grow that awesome beard? What beard tips do you have, and what beard oil do you use? Alright, so how do you grow a beard? I'm going to tell you the real secret. You have to concentrate on your beard. You have to close your eyes and focus. But seriously though, I'm actually testing out a bunch of different beard oils right now, so I don't know which one I like the best, but I do like using hand lotion on my beard. It works really good to keep it really soft, so try that out. How do you maintain discipline, and what motivates you? Oh man, so that's actually a really good question too. So the reason I stay so motivated is because I've seen what my parents and what my grandparents have to go through. Some people say, what's your why, right? Find your why. For me, I say, find what's this fire on your ass. Seriously, like, what is the reason that you're so motivated to succeed? My parents come from Punjab, India. So my dad came to this country with very little. And so, he bust his butt to get to where he is now, to support me, to support my brother, to support my mom. And not even just us. In our culture, you support your extended family as well. And so, my dad never got sick days. He never took days off. He never got weekends. He never took evenings off. He was working all the time. So seeing how much my dad worked just to put our family where it is, just so we could survive, that was honestly my biggest motivator, to see that, and then wanting to take care of my parents and wanting to take care of my family so they can really start to enjoy life. That is my biggest motivator. I remember one time my dad got his wisdom teeth taken out. And for any of you who had that, it's painful and it sucks and it's just, it's not a fun thing. So my dad got his wisdom teeth taken out in the morning and went back to work after lunch. So I mean, it was just that type of motivation where it's seriously, I mean, I've talked about this before, a succeed or don't eat mentality, because that's kind of what it is. I've seen that, and so that's my motivation is to, never have to go through that with my family and with anybody again, to take care of these people and seeing that, hey, my family came here from this country to this country with almost nothing. They didn't come here for us to be average, right? So I'm not going to sit here and just settle because I feel, tired, or if I feel sick or whatever. I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for myself after seeing what these people have gone through, what my family has gone through. And so that's my biggest motivation, is just seeing what my family has, really done. And I'm not going to sit here and just settle for average because of all that I've seen. How does one start a successful business, and how can I start a business in my industry with my passion or in my craft? Well, I created a free video series to show you how to do this. You can watch the videos on my website by clicking this link right here. How do you get over the fear of rejection? Ooh, alright, so that is something that everybody struggles with. I mean, I don't care who you are, everybody has that problem, especially initially. So for me, the best way that I was able to get over it was by being rejected again and again and again and again and again. I used to have a business where I had to do a lot of cold calling. Cold calling is where you're picking up the phone and trying to talk to somebody and trying to sell them something over the phone. You're going to get rejected a lot when you do that. And so once you start being rejected over and over and over again, you stop caring. And so that's really what you have to do. I mean, that first step is seriously the hardest step. And you have to just kind of get to that point where you're like, forget it. What do I have to lose? The worst that can happen to me is they can say no. And that, it sounds simple, but it's really a tough concept to really grasp. But you have to keep reminding yourself that the worst thing that's going to happen is they're going to say no to the deal. They're going to hang up on me. They'll walk away, whatever. Keep moving on. I mean, that's something that all entrepreneurs have to go through. I did make a video on confidence. You can watch that by clicking this link right here. What's one thing that you want to tell the sick youth? Well, I don't think this is going to apply just to the sick youth. I think this will apply to everybody. But culture is very important to me. So what I would like to say is, don't forget where you came from. I don't care who you are. Don't forget your culture. Don't forget your history. Don't forget who you are. Only we can take it forward. And a lot of times people like to, just assimilate because they think it's easier to fit in. You know what? And a lot of people told me that too. They said, hey, you'll never be able to survive in business or entrepreneurship if you have a turban or beard. You know what? Forget it. Do you. That's really what the minority mindset is. It's just forget what the majority says and do you. And don't forget who you are. I mean, only we can take our history forward. Nobody else can. What was the biggest hardship you endured as an entrepreneur? Oh man, well, there's two kind of different hardships that I remember pretty strongly. One was a financial and one was more emotional. Financially, I remember right before launching Five Water Stocks, I was putting a lot of money into my Five Water Stocks business, and at the same time, that was the same time when I was getting screwed over by my real estate contractors because I found out they were unlicensed, they weren't doing the work properly, so I had to pay other contractors to undo their work, redo their work, and at the same time, I had city inspectors that were fining me and just giving me all these lists of things to be done. So it was just, everything was happening at one time, and I stopped other businesses because I was working on Five Water Stocks, and I remember I received 2 overdraft notifications from the bank. So not only was my bank account depleted, but now I had to pay the bank another $70, 2 $35 fines because I was overdrafted. So that financially was a very tough and rough time. Emotionally, I would say all of college, because that was the whole time where I was realizing that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and my parents would not have it. I mean, if you guys watched any of my other videos, you can watch my video Life of a Brown Entrepreneur, where I talk about what it was really like, because my parents, my mom especially, did not want me to be an entrepreneur. She was not happy with it, and so it was always this kind of just fight I had emotionally on whether I should be an entrepreneur and do what I want, or make my mom happy, make my parents happy by being a doctor. So that was another big struggle as an entrepreneur. So both of those two were pretty tough to, especially getting started as an entrepreneur. Were you very ambitious when you were young, and what were you like when you were a kid? People ask me if entrepreneurs are born or entrepreneurs are made, and I think it's a blend of the two. When I was young, yeah, I was a hard worker because my parents always wanted me to be good in school. But at the same time, I also really had that entrepreneurship kind of mind inside of me. I remember when I used to go to Chuck E. Cheese, which is like an arcade for kids when I was young. I used to take half of the tickets that I would make, like let's say I won 100 tickets, I would take 50 of those tickets and take them back home and only spend 50 of the tickets, because then I would say, hey, I'm gonna keep saving half of my tickets, that way I could buy one of the bigger prizes later on. I always had that type of kind of mindset with me, and so I do think entrepreneurs are partially born, and I think they're partially made, because I was a hard worker in school especially, and then that same hard work mindset and mentality that I had really transformed me as an entrepreneur, because I was willing to work hard as an entrepreneur. You know, I always had this no excuses mindset, and so yeah, I do think an entrepreneur is partially born and partially made. You kind of have to have the two together. How did you get your parents to support you as an entrepreneur, and what was your entrepreneurial journey like? Okay, so my parents, I don't know if they so much supported me as an entrepreneur as opposed to really accepting that I was gonna be an entrepreneur. And the way I was able to do that was really kind of through the success of my business. Once I started seeing that I was being featured in newspapers, magazines, TV interviews, radio interviews, and in newspapers actually all over the world. In fact, my grandparents in India and my other family in India, they get their local newspaper, and my picture ended up in that newspaper, and I don't even know that. Like, they were reading the newspaper, they called my parents saying that, hey, Jaspreet's in the newspaper because of his business. So once my parents started to see that, that's when they really started to be okay with it, because they saw that the business is going successful and I'm actually doing something positive. They never really understood what an entrepreneur was before then. What was my entrepreneurial journey like? Well, I made a video on this too. You can watch the video by clicking this link right here. Final question. If you had to start again as an entrepreneur, what would you do, and would you do anything different? So I got started as an entrepreneur in the service-based business, and I'm really glad I did, because I think a lot of people in the digital world don't really understand how to deal and work with people, because they don't have that same personal interaction. And so because of my experiences with service-based businesses, I think I have an edge on that. So if I was a teenager again and had to do this again, I think I would start off in a service-based business again, but I would also add a digital component, because young people really gravitate to the internet and anything on social media. And so learn whatever you can about the whole digital branding, digital world, and incorporate that with a service-based business, because I think a lot of young people are kind of ignoring that, and there's a lot of opportunity there, and you can make a lot of money in there too. So I would try to blend the two together. You know, whatever you can do, try to put the two together. Incorporate digital and incorporate service-based, and I'll put you ahead of the curve. Thank you all so much for your questions. And if I didn't answer your specific question, I'm sorry. I got so many questions, but I am planning on doing more videos like this in the future, where I take your questions and I answer them on video. Is that something you'd like to see more of? Let me know in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe to the Minority Mindset YouTube channel, because I'm coming out with new videos on business, entrepreneurship, and money every single week. And share this with your friends on Facebook so they can learn too. Follow me on Snapchat for daily entrepreneurship and business tips. Take a picture or screenshot of this image right here. Go to Snapchat, click add friends, add by snap code, and like this image. Follow us on Instagram, and as always, keep hustling.